everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and on today's Bookmas video, I'm talking you through my journal lineup for 2025. In previous years, I have kind of gone a bit overboard with this video because I'm like, oh, I wanted like journal for this, and I really wanted to bulk out the things that I talk about in this video and show and be like, oh, everyone's gonna watch this video and be like, wow, she's doing so much. And then I fail to ever use any of the journals that I discuss, or I just don't keep up with it. So this year, going into 2025, I have decided to be a lot sort of more restricted on what journals I use and what I'm using them for. So I've got two daily, sort of very regular, we'll be using them weekly, daily, monthly. I've got one that is a as and when I would like to and when I'm feeling up for it, and then one is a very specific niche one for gaming. So I'm going to start with that one, and that is this really super duper cute notebook that I bought the other day. I just saw it, Ren saw it in Cheap as Chips, and I fell in love with all the little Aussie animals and all of the design and the pattern, and I was like, I need this journal. And I currently use just this sort of exercise book, and it's kind of got notes that are very outdated. I mean, I've still got Eula written down to build, who I haven't used in over a year now for any of my teams. I love her, I just don't use her. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff in here that I feel is a little bit outdated or no longer relevant to how I play Genshin now. So this is going to be my new Genshin Impact notebook, where I write down like all of the character builds I'm working on. I keep notes on things that I'm trying to track, any sort of activities where maybe it's like a thing that I've got to go back 5 days in a row to complete and get the achievement, things like that. So this is just like my little Genshin. So this is the one that I said is going to be a as and when I need it, when I'm gaming, stuff will go in this one. Then the one that is going to be the as and when I need it, I don't have it with me in Australia because I didn't want to overload my suitcase, and it was one that I was like, I don't want to start it till next year, but I can wait till I get home. And that is going to be a kind of mental health self-reflective. I do a tiny little bit of this in my bullet journal currently. I like to track my hobbies. I do like a line a day of things that have made me smile, and then I like to do a little end of the month. But those are kind of more like a little snapshot of my life. But I really want to work on self-development a little bit more next year, particularly with my pagan path and reconnecting to wildlife and nature and magic. It's going to be more like not just a sort of pagan journal, and it's not really going to be like a grimoire kind of thing or a book of shadows, but it's going to be a major focus, like the predominant is going to be on magic and getting back into paganism, but there's also going to be some self-development, like self-therapy stuff in there and things that I want to work on. So that one's probably going to end up being like, I might flip through it to talk about, but a lot of it will be redacted because it's going to be like my personal thoughts. But I would like to go through it and show off sort of how I'm getting myself back into that, and certainly where I want to try and overcome some of my skepticisms and feelings of this is foolish when it comes to things like spells. And I thought I'd take you guys along on that journey, but like I said, I don't have that journal with me. I do have a journal at home that I'm thinking of using, but if I see a blank journal here that I think is really perfect for it, then I might buy one when I'm here. And then we have I will be using these daily, weekly, monthly, whatever I need. The first one is going to be my regular bullet journal. I currently use this one, which I got from Fayco Papier last year, and while I love this design and I love that it's got the year on it, which makes it so much easier to figure out which year it is. I am not a fan of the fact that it's kind of cream coloured paper. I felt like the quality of the pocket in the back hasn't been very good. And while I think it's a really good introductory journal for someone like me and where I'm using it every single day, when I'm not having massive slumps where I go 4 months and don't journal anything and don't use it at all, which actually worked out for me because it's meant that my whole year has fit into this one journal. But when I will be using it pretty much daily and weekly, it just hasn't really held up as well as I would like. It has started to get a few loose pages and it has started to not be great. So it's definitely not one that I would recommend if you're going to be using it all the time. But if it's a journal that you're looking for to either start practicing with bullet journaling or just to use very casually, I would say it's a pretty decent one. But the one that I've got for next year, I originally bought it for this year for like, it was going to be part 2 of my bullet journaling. But as I ended up not really journaling for about 4 or 5 months. Hi puppy! But as I ended up not journaling for quite a while, it ended up that I didn't need it this year. So we have this one, which is an Archer and Olive. Nope, it's a Notebook Therapy Suki Moonlight. But it's got the usual like little quote in the back with the little... We have the little paperclip and we got a little quote. This year says, walk through the garden at the stroke of midnight, tread lightly as the seedlings of creativity grow. Chopper's just woken up and is kind of very confused as to why I'm here and not Ren. But I've got stuff in here ready to go. I've got like a little photo of Ren that's going to be stuck in the front as a little, they're with me all year. And I've started to plan out my spreads. So I've got like my future log, I've got my word of the year, things like that. I've got all of these things planned out and I've taken inspiration from various people as well as old journals. This year in 2024, I kept my journal just sort of, it was kind of just a casual as and when, but next year I really, really want to put as much focus on my candle business as I can. So I deliberately have included spreads that are going to focus on like Etsy statistics and business planning and sales stats and social media content, things like that, to really try and boost that engagement and really sort of grow the business, because I've set myself a little goal, personal goal for my business. I would like to make X amount of sales or X amount of revenue. So, you know, I want to really use this to help bring that to life. So I feel like this one is going to be used in way more detail than it has been this year. And so I'm also going to, even though I've enjoyed doing some creative themes in 2024, I have noticed I definitely prefer when I sort of use stickers and very limited art designs. For example, this one, I mostly used stickers and I've just done a little bit of adding extra detail, but it's mostly stickers and washi tape that have brought the theme to life. The only sort of drawing and real effort I put in were doing these little tea bags to do my memories and the little teacups. I'm just going to continue like this because they don't take super long to create, and I'm not putting more effort in creating my spreads than I am using them, which was like a big thing a few years ago. I was trying to do more artsy designs and I'm finding that I actually really like the cleanness of doing these kind of spreads. So that's what I'm going to do next year, is just keep up with using stickers and stuff. So if you're here for artsy, creative, super fun, artistic bullet journaling, unfortunately you're not going to get that. This is about the fanciest you are going to get. So, you know, please don't be disappointed, but I do want to make my bullet journal way more actual functional and a tool rather than a journal for creativity next year. I feel like I say that every year and then fail. And then the final one, which is the biggie and is the one that I put the most time and effort into. Unfortunately this year I changed how I did it, and I was like, I wanted to do every month, I wanted to do it as like a kind of, you know, writing about the books as I finished them, and do it as like a little journal spread and talk about every single book that I read. And while it looks great, by the end of February it fell off and I've just not had the energy to keep up with it. So I will still be doing my spreads like this one, where it's like my yearly goals. I will still do my Hall of Fame for 5-star reads, like my trackers and things. It's just that the monthly spreads, they'll still have like this and they'll still have themes, but instead of having this kind of journal style approach like this one, I am going to go more back to what I used to do. So it will have like my TBRs, I will have like the books that I've read and their ratings. I will still keep some of this kind of element in there. I do plan on like my favorite books each month, or if there's a book that I really hated for some reason and I want to rave about it, but books that I just feel kind of meh about or don't really want to talk about, I won't include. So it will just be like the highlights and lowlights of the year, and sort of like certain months I might read a book and want to make some notes on it, so I'll do that. But it's going to be a lot less writing and a lot more sort of spreads and just sort of doing a little this is what I read. And when I do a readathon, I'll print off the graphics like I did with this one. I will print off the graphics and keep a list, so it'll kind of be more like a, when I look back on it, rather than it being a review journal, it will just be like a this is what I got up to. And I still really like that I did this, where I kept a record of what books I read on what days and things. So there's going to still be a little bit of fun in there and like keeping track of stuff. But like I said, you know, I've got all of these spreads where I've printed out fan art and then I've not actually filled in the writing bit, and I'm like, ugh. And it's just really disappointing in myself when I look back on it, because it's like I want to enjoy it and I want to have talked about it more. So yeah, I'm taking the pressure off and I'm just going to focus more on just what have I read and how did I think, and not going into super great detail, because that's what these videos are for. But again, I'm bringing back some old spreads that I did in previous years that I took out for this year. And I've realised that I still prefer having them, like tracking my arcs and pre-orders. I decided not to do that this year. And then in the back of one of my other journals, I've now got a pre-order list, so I wish I'd kept it in here. So that's where next year I've got a big stack here of all of the spreads that I'm going to be including. And I have the new journal. It's from the Archer and Olive like Halloween range this year. This was one of my Christmas presents from Ren, and I was allowed to have it early because obviously I need to set it up and film it by December. So I was allowed to have it early, and I would have shown you the inside cover, but I have already set it up for next year and I don't want to give you guys I'm giving you kind of like a very, very vague idea here of what it's going to look like. But on the inside cover, Ren's has got little ghosts all on the inside. Mine had like silver tree branches, but I've covered it because it didn't quite fit the theme that I'm going for. Because I'm not doing my silver, gold, moon and stars theme that I've done for the past 3 years. I'm going a different direction this year with my reading journal. But it is this really super cute. I love this design. And it's my first ever square journal. I have been so desperately wanting to have a square bullet journal for a reading journal ever since I saw Elizabeth from Plant Based Bride with hers. And I just felt like a lot of the spreads I do would just be easier to draw out on square paper, because the pages just have a little bit more surface area to work with for like those kind of graphs. And you can see like here I'm currently working on my Book of the Year bracket. And it is just so much easier to plan it out over this sort of spread than it is over the rectangular one. So yeah, that's going to be my reading journal for next year. And I kind of wish that the edges were sprayed, especially considering this was like a limited edition. I really wish they'd done a bit more detailing on that. And I don't always feel that Archer and Olive journals are as special as the Notebook Therapy ones. Because, you know, your Notebook Therapy ones, you get like your detailing on the front, you nearly always get sprayed edges, and then you also get little details inside where you get like the little name thing, and you get like your quote and your extra bits. So I do feel like Archer and Olive go for the kind of, oh, we are Archer and Olive, and the quality is usually really, really good. But I feel like Notebook Therapy put more sort of personal detail and make their journals just feel more special. And so that's why I generally go for them. But I have been wanting a square one for ages, and I am so excited, and I've been loving using it so far. That is my journal lineup for next year. Let me know in the comments if you have any journals that you're trying out for the first time next year. As I said, for me, it's going to be the kind of reconnecting with nature, self-growth, personal stuff. Not necessarily like skills, but definitely more on the actual, you know, self-belief, self-confidence, connecting to the things that I love that aren't just, you know, games and stuff like that. And that kind of almost spiritual connection, that's definitely all new to me. So yeah, let me know if you've got anything new that you're planning on journaling about next year. And if you aren't a journaler and you're just watching this video because you wanted to watch it, thank you so much. Let me know which of these journals you liked the most. Or if you don't want to leave any comment, but you would like to let me know that you were here, just leave me any kind of, you know, either a book or a pen or something that reflects journaling in the comments, like a little emoji. But in the meantime, I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you soon for the next video. Bye!